Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be talking about the film Twisters. Fun fact, the film was filmed with a Kodak 35mm film, which was used to give the film a more authentic look, and the film was actually filmed in Oklahoma. This movie came out in 2024 and stars Daisy Edgar-Jones, Glen Powell, and Anthony Ramos, and was directed by Lee Isaac Chung. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Twisters follows Kate, who is drawn back into the world of storm chasing after a tragic accident in the past left her friends dead. She jumps back in so that she can help examine these storms and figure out how to prevent them from creating so much damage and loss of life. Twisters is a disaster film. It has similar vibes to Twister, The Day After Tomorrow, or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Twister is a classic, so I was interested to see how they would remake it, but after doing some research, I found out that it was a standalone sequel, which I think works better for this film. I never imagined I would be watching a movie about people chasing storms and being so invested. The cast was good, and the one thing I was worried about was how they were going to make this movie about some storms be interesting to non-storm chasers, and I think that they did a good job with that. Daisy Edgar-Jones leads this film as Kate, who when we first meet her is trying to figure out how to stop a storm and has a plan, but her experiment doesn't work because something is missing, and then the storm ends up being bigger than expected, which gets all of her friends killed, which was a shocking way to start this movie. I love seeing her trying to use science to figure out a way to stop the twisters or to help minimize casualties. Even after the traumatic events, she came back to continue her work with hopes of making a change. It was cool how good she was at reading the clouds. It was like her own little superpower because she was mostly right when it came to these twisters and which way that they were headed. The one thing that did irritate me was that it seemed like the accent that she was doing wasn't consistent. It made me question if it was really needed. Kate's mom, Kathy, was played by Mara Turney, and while she didn't have a lot of screen time, she's now portraying her mom, showing how she is super supportive, but will also embarrass you in front of your crush. I love how even though Kate had been beating herself up, the moment she came home, her mom just welcomed her with open arms and let her just have some time to deal with whatever she was going through. Javi is one of Kate's friends, played by Anthony Ramos, and the reason she came back, and even though it was for the wrong reasons, I think he needed her much more than he thought. He wants to study these twisters as well, and has a company that aims to monitor the twisters, but his donor is a man who really seeks to profit off of other people's pain. I'm glad in the end that he realizes that he was going about it all the wrong way and needed to find a better solution. From the trailers, I thought that I would hate Tyler, who was played by Glen Powell, but shockingly, he was one of the best people in the movie. I love how he's seen as doing things for the wrong reason, but it's just a persona for the cameras, and it's not the real him. I feel like Glen has mostly played cocky characters in movies that I've seen him in, and it was nice to see him play one that was cocky, but also very heartfelt and kind and crazy. I love that he also supported Kate with her experiment and helped her realized she could help lots of people. A lot of films film in locations other than where their actual film is based, and I think it was a smart move filming in Oklahoma. It was cool to see all these open fields and how these tornadoes affect these small towns and what that would look like to have to deal with the aftermath. There obviously are special effects because why would you film with a real tornado? But it was cool to see the vast nature that they encounter and the wide openness of everything. Science is the driving force to get these storms to stop, and technology is used to understand them. And it's even stated by her mom how these tornadoes have gotten worse over the years, along with other weather events, and how these tornadoes have become more frequent. I love the science experiment she had as a kid and how this was always her passion. I was kind of surprised that they didn't even mention global warming, since they're looking at weather phenomena from a scientific standpoint. I just feel like looking at historical trends and how that connects to now would be something they would need to do to understand these storms and why they have become more frequent or more intense. My favorite part of this film was finding out that the tornado wrangler and his crew were actually doing good. When we first meet him, all we know is what we see and what we are told, which is that he seems to soak in the attention and only does stuff for money and his YouTube channel. As we spend more time with the crew, we learn the reason why they sell stuff is so that they have money to buy food for victims who were affected by one of the twisters. It's definitely a don't judge a book by its cover moment, and yes, they are still crazy for driving into a tornado, but also they make sure that since they can't prevent it, they can at least help with the cleanup efforts and making sure that people are safe. At first, I thought their slogan was annoying, but by the end of the film, I too was saying, if you feel it, chase it. Twisters was a movie I was not expecting to be so invested in, but it had my attention. I thought the cast was great, and I really liked the story dealing with tornadoes and figuring out how to understand them and possibly disperse them. Thank you for watching my video. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, please do so and keep up to date with more of my videos. But besides that, everyone stay safe, have fun, and goodbye.